Hey there! So today we have another review, and this is another beer from the Bell's series of Flamingos. I will say they definitely crush it on their caps. I mean, that is insane. It's got two flamingos sort of crushing it, like hugging each other, and it's got some raspberries, really nice kind of like pinkish kind of color to it. Just beautiful bottle caps. I mean, some of the best I've seen. So anyway, the series is actually quite good. The original is a Flamingo fruit flight with like mango passion fruit. That was insane. I think the original is the best, but they've done some series of these guys. Some are okay, not so good, but let's check out the raspberry one. This one is okay. It's like less than 3 months fresh, but for a sour, pretty good. Really lively carbonation on this guy. Yeah, actually, they're quite cold. And so raspberry, Flamingo fruit fight. Fruit fight. My God, this is such a tongue twister of a beer. And especially because it's like fruit flight would be more, sense because it's flamingos and they fly, they're birds, but hey, who knows? Wow, lively carbonation. I mean, that is good looking beer. That's like Belgian beer. Jeez. Beer comes in a really wonderful kind of like intense, decently reddish hue. Comes off like slightly pink in the light, but it's a really just pretty medium light red color. Really beautiful. I mean, look at that beautiful head being created. Off-white pink on the nose. It's that simple kettle sour kind of note. What is kettle sour? Kettle sour is hard to sort of like get at. It's like grainy, slightly yogurty. What do I smell? It's like, not in a bad way, but like almost like construction paper, cardboardy, but like not an oxidation. Like in a pretty light white paperish kind of like papery kind of tone to it. I mean, you guys have smelled kettle sours before, I hope so. Really nice kind of like pretty light raspberry note. Real pure fruit kind of flavor, nothing like candied or gross, but yeah, a little bit of like cotton candy thing. Not too vanilla forward, but like really nice, just like raspberry sour. Cheers. Along with Berliner Weiss, I hope some of you guys have had raspberry sours before. On the palate, it's really light. Yeah, I think they pushed back. The original was just jammy and tropical intense. It's a really nice light kind of like beer. Doesn't really do too much for me. I mean, it's killer drinkable, so there's that, but nice and refreshing. But it's really like an aromatic impression of fruitiness. It really is not that fruity of a beer, and it's mostly that thing I was smelling. It's not the prettiest Berliner Weiss here. It's actually not that tart. It follows with, honestly, maybe some oxidation. Maybe I'm smelling some of that because I now maybe sense some of that kind of like white paper envelope-y kind of thing. Maybe it's a little bit oxidized. I don't know. I think, yeah, honestly, I think that's just beer. It's that really light wheat character. It's really pale, and the beer in general just lacks structure to it, right? It's very flat in allowing the kind of malts or the grain and the malt character to kind of show without the fruitiness nor more of a tart character. I think part of it was that the intensity of the mango and passion fruit really offered really nice kind of tartness to the beer. Maybe some balance from the salinity. This is just, I mean, it's dumb refreshing at 5%. Like, this would be a fun one to sort of like have outside when it's hot, but they released it in the fall, and I can't imagine fall and winter is that nice in Michigan. And it's like this would be great maybe in like, again, like a warm, hot summer in Michigan, but like for this season, I don't know why they're releasing this beer. I can't imagine like with the cold weather, many people are looking for something like this. Again, like maybe with something more intensity, like something fruity, like, more lively. You're playing in the game of something like cranberry sauce, but the festive season. The beer itself, I mean, it's a pretty looking beer. I mean, lace and scrape, well made. Maybe I'm going to call wrong on oxidation character, but it's just like that's the word I was looking for. Gluey. I'm not saying like this has like the acetal problem. Like, sometimes you get the acetal and like there's all flavors in here, but there's this weird kind of glue, like white glue Elmer's thing coming in, a little bit chemically. Not saying, again, it's a large variety. They don't have these kind of issues of contamination from certain vessels or that would, or transferring lines that would offer a plasticky kind of off flavor. So it's just part of the beer. And it's got this plasticky kind of like a Elmer's thing going on. The fruit is really nuanced. Like, if you didn't see this beer, you would never, like full blind and black glass, I don't know if you'd guess this beer was that richly red. Yeah, you can clearly tell some raspberry in here, but it's like pale characteristics. Almost like, actually, really interesting note. Avery Swanson did an interview on Multicouture, and they talk about like one of the great beers that I've had from Justin King. Avery Swanson, by the way, was one of the brewers, important people at Justin King, outside of Jeffrey Stuffings, the lead person there. But at her time there, she hated Atrial Rubicite because she actually had to brew that beer, and it, high demand, blah blah. They want the sherry one, they want the Atrial Rubicite. In my time of enjoying sour beer was so hype, so hype. People were lining up, having the grandma stand in line and all this stuff. But they actually produced a product that was later in, was the second use fruit, and I found those a lot more elegant. Not so jammy intense. And this is almost like fourth use fruit. Like, there was barely any character of fruit in here. And again, we're talking about vastly different products. That's a mixed fermentation character, oak age, and the fruit is different. But we're talking about here, they're doing a fresh product. With the fresh product, I strongly believe you want to use a product that has a little bit more liveliness, a little bit more juiciness. Maybe not in the level of Atrial Rubicite, but something to help, add tart character, tannins, and balance and sweetness and all the stuff. Like, it's really just a blandish kind of like base beer showing through with like a little bit of fruit, and it's not really doing too much for me. This also comes with really high expectations about what Flamingo Fruit Fight can do. Probably one of the worst. The lemon lime one sucked. It was like Sprite. It was really gross. Not gross, but like I didn't like it that much. This one's, again, pretty bland. It's fine beer. But showing so much of that base beer really, again, has this like weird Elmer's thing. You guys post in the comments below if you get that tasting note, because I don't know what the hell is going on here. It's not bad. It's just like, again, I think it's the base beer is just showing up too much. Let's go with a... It has, again, I'm always looking for like impression. Like, I hope you guys know by now, like or if you guys are watching the video, I try to rate beers based on personal preference somewhat, impression, utility. Utility is a great one for me. Like, these are like qualities that I want in a beer. Like, there's like, I don't know if I can rank them, but like, impressions are pretty high, utility is pretty high, preference is pretty high. There's so like, these are sort of like three tiers of like what I like. It's not really impression. Utility's good. Preference, meh. So let's go with a 82. It's good beer. Again, it's not all flavored or, generally, but I'd argue maybe you can see this as an all flavored beer. Yeah, it's just like, eh. So 82. That is Bell's Raspberry Flamingo Fruit Fight. I think part of the tongue twister is that Flamingo fruit, and then you want another L at Flamingo Fruit Flight. That make like, cadence in speaking, but Flamingo Fruit Fight, tongue twister. One of the most tongue twister beers that have, at least like name wise, that I've seen. Flamingo Fruit Fight. Just try to say that 5 times fast. 82. So cheers, let me know what you think. Post in the comments below what your favorite of the variants is, if you like this, the series of beers. So until next time, guys.